What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCool.
And a bit of a paradox that you want to depoliticize institutions of learning on one hand, and you want to engage politicians, especially those who are in power, to influence change in how education is delivered in our institutions. Don't you think that's a bit of a paradox? Because I see a situation where you want more and more rapport or engagement with the state, especially, not the opposition where we are now, but where we were previously, where our friends are now. And that is what you'd like to be enhanced. So if we're going to let you go free, and as government or opposition, we say, no, leave them away from politics, how then do we engage? So I think this is the difficulty you may find yourselves in, and this is the difficulty probably the colleagues who are running government are finding themselves in. Because one minute you'll be saying, no, the cost of living is too high. That is a political statement. And the one who can tell whether the cost of living is too high is a student, because he's coming from a home, he's coming from the community. He knows the cost of living because he feels it. So if you do that, to me, who is sitting in State House, to me, who is in the opposition as president, I see that's a political statement. And depending on how favorable it is to my cause, I will encourage you. So if I see it as smirking of animosity and desirous of bringing me down, I'll say, he's being too political, can you deal with him? So you see what I'm talking about. This is the biggest challenge you face as students, including when you talk about freedoms. Yes, you are free. They'll give you freedom, and I think I'm an advocate for freedom. But at the end of the day, you find that when you freely speak on politics and you support me, I'll say, no, you're not being political. But when you freely speak on politics and you injure my status or my situation or my vision or my ambition, I say, no, that's being too political. You're not supposed to be political. It becomes a problem. But your findings are genuine, legitimate, and I can only say that let's find a way of airing them so that we all get to know. And I'm surprised that you are craving for student participation in decision-making at the level of the institution. I've heard of schools here in Zambia where they'll pick a student, a learner, from grade 4, grade 5, grade 6 classes and say, you sit with the teachers and listen to them and they make certain decisions so that you're able to tell them what you're thinking of your class. They call them counselors or senators in some schools and so on. It's happening. And those of you who go to these schools, which I may call elitists, that was very common. But I don't know whether it's happening at Shuko Primary School in Chimwemwe. But these are things which we should be innovative and be creative and be ready to say, look, this is a novel situation. It has never happened. And like you have said in your slogan, nothing about us without us. It's true. Because you'll be able to know meal allowances. Oh, meal allowances, you proclaimed that you have increased meal allowances, but it's not enough. Then they will tell you, no, your source is not enough, where the resources are coming from, the resource envelope. How do we begin increasing your budgetary requirements for meal allowance at the same time when the envelope is depleting? Then you may point out that, why don't you cut down on your trips, sir? that kind of thing, because that's what comes out of dialogue. So I think that I don't want to take the positives out of this. From what you have said, there's a lot of positivity. And I can only pray that those in power now want to listen to you, because without your support, nothing will work. Just the other day, I said something about free education. I'm a product of free education myself. And free education meant I used to get books from school. I used to get, even meals, we used to get meals given to us, milk, and some biscuits at break and so on. That is true. But the resources may not be there. The question is, if the resources are not there for the government should begin revisiting its budgetary allocation and say which are the priority areas. And for me, education should be a bigger chunk of the budget. And of course, there are competing needs, there's security, there is health, there is all these things coming through. But unless we begin engaging students, we will have a difficulty because we think students are unruly. They are being influenced by the political forces, they are against us and so on. But I would like to just speak one little thing. In the last 2.5 years that I've been out of office, there has been what has been introduced as free education in Zambia. And just the other day I said I'm bemoaning the quality of free education. Because I saw little children clustered in a room like sardines and so on. That came after I spoke, but my worry is the quality of free education. Did you think about it? The quality of education from grade 1 to grade 7 to grade 12, and in these tertiary institutions? Did you address that? Are you happy with the quality of education you encountered in lower level, grade 1 to 7, grade 7 to 12, beyond that? Did you focus on that? If you didn't, please focus on that and help me advocate for quality education. Because that is what I was calling for. I was not saying that let's scrap free education. And then, you know, when I talk about quality education, it can divert to those who train the media practitioners. Because the media practitioner is supposed to be aiming for truth all the time. And no one is challenging them to say, where did he say this? In what context did he say this? Can I have a voice bite or whatever you call it, or a video clip to show that the man said, I will do away with free education? So I began at that point questioning the quality of education in the media fraternity, those who train journalists. Are you sure this is the quality of education a journalist would say, I'm happy with it? If I was a journalist, the first thing I would say was, wait a minute. Did that man say that? Where did he say that? Was there any media professional present? Give me footage. Give me a recording, and so on. And then we'd go through it, and then I'll say, yeah, I think by implication he said this. So then let's take him on. Or if you're not clear, you say, President Lungu, or they want to call me former president. Former President Lungu, what was president, no worry. So, so they would say, President Lungu, what did you mean when you said this? Instead of elaborate. Then when I make myself clear, then you would say, this is what the gentleman said. Let's talk about it. And then you can begin now tearing me apart and the headlines and so on and so forth. But the quality of education, of course, does not end up with the journalists. It ends up with lawyers. It ends up with doctors. It ends up with engineers. Why do we have washed out bridges every so often? It's because of the quality of education we're offering in the engineering sector. And if we offer quality education in that area, who have people of integrity who will be able to do professional work which will last, which will save people money. And so for your research, I think that you should have gone a bit further. I hope you did go further to look at the quality of education in instances which can be categorized as professionals. Lawyers, are they getting good education? Are we getting good lawyers? Quality education. If they're paying fees, are the fees worth it? If it's free education, does it mean we should just sacrifice and say it's free education, therefore we should bring out, if I go to a university which is privately funded, the quality of education will be reviewed in the workmanship, the skills that I'll have. It goes the same if I go to a public institution and I bring out, I don't know what word to use, I bring out an wholesome performance. People will say, I'd rather have graduates from this institution working for me than graduates from that institution. You begin now bringing down the quality of education. You begin now despising that institution. And people begin saying, I'd rather send my child to a public school or a private school because what I'm seeing is worth it and so on. So in a research like this, I think I know that you haven't had time to go into detail to give me what your findings are. But I thought I should take advantage of this opportunity to just clarify that quality education should be quality education. If it's free, the government should spend more on free education so that people are able to equal the expectations of the syllabus and at the end of the day produce quality citizens who will be able to deliver. As a medical doctor, it's a medical doctor, whether you're coming from Levi Mwanawasa, you're coming from any other medical institution in the country. If you're a lawyer, you're going to produce quality legal services, whether you're coming from a private university or a public university and so on. So all I can say is thank you very much for this, and I don't want to take away. The problem is if I talk, no matter what you say, they will trash everything and say, Edgar Lungu said this. But I hope that the media will pick what you said. Because what you said is very important. It is what has provoked me to say what I've said. So if only we can listen to you, because we cannot govern and run schools and universities without you successfully, probably can be better. So media guys, please ensure that you give headline to these people, not Lungu again. No, okay. So thank you so much. Unless the additions you wish to make, what we did for ourselves, you have been able to evaluate. I know that we were there up to 2021. Our friends have been there from 2021 to now, and you should be able to compare and contrast. And it's so contrasting, you'll be able to help those who are in power, what they can do better, without even necessarily having to beat our drum and say, oh, guys, the previous guys did better, because that is what they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear that. So You wish to say something? Vote of thanks. Yeah. Unless you have to say something. The report must be very lengthy. I would like to have a copy. Can you help me get a copy of the full report once it is released and so on? It will help us. But the quality education should be quality education, right? And then students should participate. I agree with you. But whether that should be legislated, I don't know. Whether that should be just a custom in the institution we belong to. Some universities do it out of custom. Some schools do it out of goodwill for the parents have insisted. But others probably have it in the regulations. Dean of students and all these things begin mingling, and then you have quality senates and so on. So, thank you so much. Are you done?
Yes,
Huh?
it's a
huge thing, eh? But when are you launching it so that the public can have access to it and probably judge for themselves?
As soon as we are done, we would like to do a comprehensive statement of this engagement.
Right. Okay. So from here you're going, I know you're coming from Livingstone and you're still on it. So from here, where are you going?
I think we are done with our outreach. So
okay.
We did institutions of higher learning here in Lusaka. We visited them, and also we shared the same report and also got their recommendations. And then we went to Livingstone to get the in Central Province as well. And then Central Province was the last one. Our comrades and colleagues will be going back to Denmark on Sunday. So tomorrow we're just dedicating it to also see the beautiful city of Lusaka and also get one or two souvenirs like they did when
Livingstone. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, that's it. The next step, maybe in regards to this, is that we want to produce what we are calling a toolkit. Okay. So that toolkit will be used as a basis for advocacy based on the issues that came out on the report. But I should also make mention that I think we appreciate your recommendations. I think maybe our research focused on another part, but also the research findings have exposed maybe some of the issues that you've raised and things that maybe we are not a part of our objective. Started to pursue the research, but I think we are very ambitious young people and seem to read that at least while we still can leave something that at least young people would not be doing after we leave maybe the office that we're in. They should have a different agenda that should be pushing for. We can't keep on pushing about academic freedom. I think maybe one step at a time. So now, once we have, because academic freedom also, like you said, is broad, and also part of the definition says that access to education, not just access to education, but access to quality education. Yes. So all that is incapacitated into the issue of academic freedom. I think my team and everyone here would like to appreciate that you gave us time from your very, very busy schedule to engage with us. I think to us it shows the heart that you have for young people and also accommodating young people and engaging in this conversation that does not only shape the face of Zambia, but also the shape of the academic in Zambia and also the path that we want to lead. So before we leave, we brought you a small...
I just wanted to find out from the SG meal allowances. You talked about an increase of 2 kwacha or something. But have you bothered about feeding programs for young ones in these schools? We used to provide the food to feeding programs. We had feeding programs because you can have all the freedom, but if I'm hungry, my belly is stinging, I can't hear anything, I can't learn anything. So as much as the students at high institutions are learning and clamoring for increased allowances for meals, we should also look at the meal plan, feeding programs for schools where applicable. We used to do that, and I don't know whether it's being done, but it's helpful because when I'm full, I will sit there, I will listen, and I can also sing and jump, even at kindergarten. So that costs money. And then it takes us back to the budget. How are we budgeting? Are we giving priorities to travels? Are we giving priorities to children? And so your research is okay, it started well, but I'm sure other researchers will come and build upon it. But if you can raise these questions, they're not rhetorical questions. They're questions which are fundamental. Because once you say, we did not tackle this because we didn't have space, another researcher will come and pick it up from there and say, look, this is what should be done, and so on. So all said and done. Thank you so much for coming, for the patience, and God bless you. I just wish you the very best.
Sorry, Excellency, I'm tempted to comment on the
Oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
you mentioned about hidden programs. I think speaking the same language, but probably the same message, but probably different language or versions, we have been advocates for so much more than just academic freedom as access to education or that as a nurse. We also proposed something similar to what you have suggested in terms of feeding, and that is some sort of a culture we learned from the exchange program we had with the Danes, where as a student, if I'm boarding a bus in Denmark, just using my card, university card, I get a certain discount. So those are sort of incentives which government can, and if the government that is prioritizes education really, or wants to support education directly or indirectly, can put up those incentives. You know, the price of millennium, price of getting a laptop, anything I want to use that is going to contribute to my education. Of course, not alcohol or things like that. Buying a laptop, buying books, buying food. I should be able to walk into a shop at Eastpark and say, I'm a student at the University of Zambia. Can I buy this? And I'll be given that discount. Those are practical things we have proposed, looking at the growth in the population now and what can be possible. But of course, we still feel there's a need for mindset change, even those that are in government, in terms of how they look at certain sectors of the country.
Right. No, we can go on and on and on. Well, this subject affects all of us, and especially those of us who want to leave a good legacy. We think we can do better. Yeah, we can do better. How else shall we be remembered apart from our deeds? Because the words have proven that they're just words. But when you do it, people say that at least he did what he meant. He said what he said, and he did it, and so on. So keep on, ladies and gentlemen. It's a noble cause. Of course, we will not appreciate you now, but when you go say, there's a research report there, findings there, go and look at it, and so on. But I believe that the government in place now, the government in situ now, will listen to you and look at your findings and so on. But that's what governments do. Thank you so much.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JQ.